El 7 de noviembre del 2006, Deval Patrick se convirtió en el primer gobernador afroamericano del estado de Massachusetts y el segundo gobernador de color en la historia de los Estados Unidos. Ahora, 4 años después, ha decidido postularse una vez más como candidato del Partido Demócrata en las elecciones del 2 de noviembre de este año. Hoy tenemos el honor de que nos acompañe en nuestros estudios el gobernador de Massachusetts, Deval Patrick. Bienvenido, gobernador, a Encuentro Latino.
Muchas gracias, mucho gusto.
Gobernador, primeramente, para las personas que nos ven a través de Encuentro Latino, todos saben quién es Deval Patrick, el gobernador de Massachusetts, aquí en Massachusetts y en la región de New England. Para los televidentes a nivel nacional e internacional, ¿quién es Deval Patrick?
Well, I am, I'm like a lot of people. I grew up on welfare on the south side of Chicago, meaning an awful lot of people come from modest backgrounds and they get a break. In my case, I grew up with my grandparents and my mother and my sister in a 2-bedroom tenement on the south side of Chicago. My mother and sister and I shared one of those rooms and a set of bunk beds. You go from the top bunk to the bottom bunk to the floor every third night on the floor. I went to big and broken and under-resourced public schools, but I got a break in 1970 through a scholarship through a program called A Better Chance to come to Massachusetts on scholarship for to go to school at Milton Academy. And it was the beginning of a change in my life. And really from that moment, it was Massachusetts people and Massachusetts schools, Massachusetts jobs that have given me incredible blessings. I was the first in my family to go to college. I went to law school at Harvard as well, and practiced all over the country and have traveled all over the world in my work. I'm a father, and I married up a wonderful woman from New York who's also a lawyer, and we have 2 adult daughters now, and our life has been full of blessings. And really, what I'm about is giving back.
Gobernador, mencionaba yo que usted es el segundo gobernador afroamericano en los Estados Unidos y el primero en el estado de Massachusetts. ¿Cómo se siente al lograr esto?
It's humbling. It's humbling, Angel. It's you don't think of yourself at age 54 as an historic figure. It sounds old. But I think there were an awful lot of people who thought it would never happen in Massachusetts. We have a relatively small African-American community and voting population. But I wasn't running to be the first African-American governor of the Commonwealth. What I ran to be is the best governor of the Commonwealth. And we went and met people where they were in every sense of the term. It was very much a grassroots campaign. It was about seeing people in their homes, in their workplaces, where they were economically, where they were socially, and inviting them back into a sense that this is your civic and political future, and you can shape it. And really that's what we built, a grassroots movement, the likes of which the Commonwealth has never seen, and we're rebuilding it now for the re-election campaign.
¿Por qué decide usted, señor gobernador, postularse de nuevo para gobernador de Massachusetts?
Really because I felt I was missing leadership that was based on convictions, that came from values, that there are an awful lot of people, good people in political and public life, but who were thinking mostly about the next election or the next news cycle, and aren't really thinking about the decisions that have to be made today that will leave the Commonwealth better for another generation to come. It's generational responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I was willing because, politics is not my career. And I think what happens is, people say, well, because it's not my career, you make the kinds of mistakes a career politician wouldn't make. And maybe that's true. Sometimes I do. But the beauty of it not being my career is I can do the job without thinking about my career. I can think about what's best for the Commonwealth, for the here and now, and for our children and their children.
¿Qué puede usted brindarle como gobernador en este próximo término de usted ganar a la ciudadanía en el estado de Massachusetts que otros no pueden brindarle?
Well, a couple things. First of all, because I believe in generational responsibility, we are making choices today in my administration that will make the Commonwealth better and stronger over time in education, in healthcare, in job creation, and we're getting those results. We have, at the worst time, the worst economy in living memory, we've invested more in public schools than ever before in the history of the Commonwealth. Our children are #1 in student achievement in the whole country. And we have now the tools to get at the achievement gap, which has been a problem here in the Commonwealth for a long time. And stuck in that gap are poor children, children with special needs or who speak English as a second language, more often than not children of color. They are our children too. And now we have some tools to be able to reach them. Similarly in healthcare, we have expanded healthcare to more people, 97.5%, more people than any other state in the country, and I'm very proud of that. But it costs too much, and we still need to get those costs down. That's what a second term is about. And we've been adding jobs faster than 47 other states, coming out of recession faster and stronger than most of the rest of the country, growing at twice the nation's growth rate, but still a lot of people are out of work. They need opportunities in that new economy. So for us, the next term is about finishing what we started, and you need to know that the other candidates in this race have opposed every single strategy that has delivered the results I just told you about. So there's a real difference here in our values.
De ser gobernador de nuevo en el estado de Massachusetts, ¿qué le haría a usted o qué continuaría haciendo usted aquí como gobernador en el estado?
Well, first of all, in education, we continue on this path because though we now have the tools because of sweeping education reform to close the achievement gap, we still have an achievement gap we need to close. In healthcare, we need to get the costs of that down, and we have some strategies to do that. And in job creation, we've got a great pace going right now over the last 6 or 7 months in particular, coming out of this recession. I want to keep that pace going until everyone who's looking for work can find it. And a big part of that strategy is around small businesses, because that's where most people work. They represent 85% of the businesses. And so containing their healthcare costs, making sure they have access to capital, is a big part of the strategy to make sure that small businesses thrive here in the Commonwealth.
¿Cuáles son de las cosas que apoya usted como gobernador que benefician a la comunidad latina?
Well, first of all, I think that the emphasis on jobs, on healthcare, and on education are of benefit to every community in the Commonwealth, because those are things, you know, what I have found is that they're interests that transcend any culture, any community. Every parent I know cares about doing right by their kids. Every parent I know is looking for work to make a way for themselves and their families. So that emphasis is Commonwealth-wide and touches everybody. I think there's some other issues and some real differences, frankly, with the other candidates. I believe we need comprehensive immigration reform.
Muy importante, muy importante.
Very important, and I think it needs to be done at the national level. That's the right place for it. And it needs to be done in a way that's consistent with our best values as Americans. You know, this is a nation of immigrants. It was built by the contributions of people coming from all over the world. And sometimes I listen to the rhetoric around immigration today, people trying to demonize people who are here looking for work, looking for a way to make a way for themselves and their families, looking for the American dream, just like everybody else. And so it seems to me that the immigration reform we need at the national level is a balance. Yes, it's greater and better border control, but also it's a pathway forward to citizenship for people who are here and contributing. I think that some of the things we've done around, I'm very clear about my support for in-state tuition for the children of undocumented people. You know, most of the kids they're brought here by their parents. They didn't choose to come. They've done everything they're supposed to do in our public schools. They've excelled. They've earned admission to our public colleges and universities. And then all of a sudden, we treat them differently from the kid who sat across the aisle from them in high school and in grammar school. And to me, that's wrong. That's a fairness question. We've put in place now what we call a New Americans Agenda, which is a series of recommendations from a great task force of ours to make a more welcoming environment for newcomers here. And that's the kind of tone I want to set in the Commonwealth. And there has all kinds of implications in policy, but also in leadership.
There's always politics involved in making the right decision.
That's right.
¿Qué tan importante es para usted, gobernador, el voto latino, el voto de la comunidad latina?
You know what? I don't take for granted any vote at all. And that's the difference between me and a lot of people in political life. You know, they kind of slice and dice and they figure out where they're going to be and where to show up, and they only pay attention to the folks who have always cast votes or where they think they have an in. I want to be governor of the whole state and of everybody. And I've said I'm a Democrat. I'm proud to be a Democrat, but I'm not the governor of the Democrats. I'm the governor of the people who voted for me and the ones who didn't, the ones who agree with this or that policy position, the ones who don't. And I believe we get the government you deserve. You know, if you sit it out, if you leave it to the pundits and the pollsters, you get what you deserve. But what we did the last campaign, and what we need to do again, is go and reach out to people in every community and invite people to come in and see their stake in their own civic and political future. And we want to do that with the Latino vote as well.
Nosotros sabemos que usted dentro de su gobierno tiene latinos trabajando con usted. De ganar nuevamente como gobernador, ¿incluiría a más latinos en su gabinete?
I feel very, very strongly that any government that is trying to serve, truly trying to serve the public, must use the talent that we know exists in every community, every single community. And so we reached out, we've brought Latino talent into at senior levels and at all levels of the Commonwealth, and I look forward to continuing to do that if the people of the Commonwealth give me the honor of a second term.
Finalmente, su mensaje para nuestra comunidad a través de este programa Encuentro Latino y para todos los latinos, no solamente aquí en el estado de Massachusetts, pero a nivel nacional e internacionalmente.
That you are a part of our community, that you enrich our community. You know, we are a stronger nation when we allow the diversity that is America to be our strength and to contribute. And I want that to be true of the Commonwealth. I want that to be true of the whole of the country.
Gobernador, muchísimas gracias por su tiempo. Un honor tenerlo con nosotros en el programa y esperamos que nos visite de nuevo.
Thank you.
Si usted desea más información sobre el gobernador Deval Patrick y su candidatura, usted puede llamar al número de teléfono que está en pantalla o visite su página de internet www.devalpatrick.com. Ahora nos vamos a una pausa. Cuando regresemos, hablaremos con el expresidente de la República Dominicana, Hipólito Mejía. No se pierda esta importante entrevista. Ya volvemos, no se vayan.